What's going on, everybody? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I had two super sad videos to start the day, so probably have to do like two of the Christmas openings at the end of each of the non-sad videos. We also have the Twitter Files today, live at 4 p.m. Central. We'll be joined by Sydney Watson today at some point as well, if we get any new leaks, but interesting little story. Elon Musk says some of the most important Twitter data was deleted or hidden from former boss and founder Jack Dorsey, as he vows, quote, "Everything we find will be released." Now, if you're enjoying my coverage of the Twitter Files and you haven't yet, please make today the day you subscribe. I know if you have to create an account or whatever, it's a pain in the rear end, but I would greatly appreciate it. New chief twit Elon Musk claimed the most important Twitter data was deleted or hidden from the company's founder and CEO. Twitter CEO Elon Musk has vowed that everything we find will be released as his newly acquired company continues to release the Twitter Files, which deal with the suppression of information surrounding the president's son's computer. On Wednesday, Jack Dorsey replied to Musk's tweet about delaying the second batch of Twitter Files, calling on the new CEO to, quote, "release everything at once." If the goal is transparency to build trust, why not just release everything without filter and let people judge for themselves, including all discussions around current and future actions? ? Dorsey wrote, "Make everything public now." Now, if you're on my Twitter File stream yesterday, you heard the longer version, but I'll give you the short version of why I think people, of course, are pushing for this. One, maybe Jack Dorsey legitimately doesn't believe there's anything to see. Perhaps. But what I think is that media in particular and politicians who feel like maybe they're going to be implicated by this are hoping that he will just release everything in a deluge, so to speak, so people get confused and people don't, people gloss over it. Like, this is why there's a lot of big news stories on like Friday afternoons, right? They drop a bunch of data on a Friday afternoon and then everyone forgets about it by Monday. That's what they did with the Panama Papers, 11.5 million pages for people to go through. It was just too much. Now, again, I do think bringing additional resources in to pour through these documents would be smart. I think having like WikiLeaks and stuff like that help redact things, I think that's important. But also like the whole release the files. I mean, this isn't like a government operation where there's just files and files and files in an easily searchable way. Twitter just has like Slack conversations and emails, and maybe there's some other messaging service. They've got different conversations in different Slack groups and there isn't exactly the files to be released. I think that this is like a weird request because you can't. It's like, unless he just says, release this internal Slack database for everyone. I don't know. But Elon has responded saying most important data was hidden from you too. And some have been deleted, but everything we find will be released. Meaning all these like little clout monsters, I guess you could include myself in that, but I'm not asking for the files. But people who are these little independent reporters that are hoping that they get their big break by getting access to these files, they'll get them at some point. And there'll be something that Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi miss. Right now, as of today, now we didn't get any new Twitter Files yesterday. I strongly suspect we will today. I'm guessing around 4 o'clock. That's why I'm going to go live at 4. But I think that it's important to drip it out, to have a slow, steady release of information. However, I do also believe that we can't have this like 3-4 day, 5 days in between where nobody knows, nobody has any idea if information is going to get released. We're all just sitting around, because what's going to happen is people are going to get sick of waiting. Like, I think if he were to say, hey, we're going to have a Twitter file release every day at 4 o'clock, like clockwork, that would be fine. But this, like, sit on Matt and Barry Weiss's Twitter page and keep constantly refreshing it, hoping she leaks some information out, that's not sustainable. People will do it for maybe this week, but eventually people are going to move on from the story anyway. So if there is stuff to release, then it's time to release it. We saw yesterday that Dr. Anthony Fauci had his daughter working at Twitter. And it was just, oh, by the way, during a deposition, he's like, oh, yeah, my daughter worked at Twitter. No big deal. I'm sure it was just a coincidence. I'm sorry, a coincidence. I'm sure that's all it is. But, you have lots of connections. Obviously, we found out the day before that you had a former FBI general counsel member scrubbing the Twitter files before they ever even got to the reporters. So who knows what was deleted, removed, withheld. I suspect that'll be the first thing we see is the difference between what was given to that lawyer and what we actually got. Now, if they are releasing everything, it's going to be really interesting. If they had stuff to release, here's the thing, like if they had stuff to release last weekend, then certainly they have something to release. So there's certainly something coming. But you see Politico, Elon Musk's release of the Twitter documents on the president's son has slowed. Here's why. 5 days later, for all of Musk's promotion and drum rolling, there have been no further releases. Just freewheeling online chat Saturday night that featured a cast of colorful personalities talking about free speech. The delay offers a window into some of the challenges Musk is facing as he attempts to a radical overhaul of the platform he just bought, changing not just the company's staffing and strategy, but its politics, shifting a largely progressive-leaning platform to one committed to more of a libertarian vision of free speech. Taibbi said on Tuesday that complications involving a Twitter lawyer had been holding up the rest of the document, suggesting a lawyer was working out the odds with Musk's executives. Musk had tweeted 20 minutes earlier to say that the lawyer had been exited from the company. In an earlier text exchange with Politico, Taibbi had pointed to internal conflict and Twitter's own corporate culture as the source of the delay. The company is used to operating in open defiance of its CEO, Taibbi said. Now, most of the higher-ranking people are gone, but this is still a logistical battle more than anything. So if you see delays and other head-scratching things, please keep that in mind. Twitter not respond to requests for comment. So meaning, we had Vijaya Gandhi, we had this general counsel, we had, Fauci's daughter working there. Who knows how many other operatives working at Twitter and doing so, as he writes, as in open defiance of their leader. Now, I don't think that this absolves Jack Dorsey. And I don't like seeing everybody so quick to say, yeah, I'm Team Jack Dorsey. He says release all the files. No, Jack Dorsey could have released all the files during the election. He could have stepped in and not censored that story. But he didn't. He let it go on. And now it looks like he may, Jack to Elon, can we just get the doxing over with? What? Doxing? This via left-leaning Gizmodo. If you haven't been following, Musk has been airing the platform's dirty laundry in public for the past week or so. Last Friday, the tech CEO hailed the release of the Twitter files, an expose by investigative journalist Matt Taibbi that involves internal documents with the company. Don't remember the post incident? Well, apologies for the multitude of digressions. The whole situation's sort of complicated. Yes, everyone knows, what was happening with that. I don't think that this is any kind of doxing situation, but I don't know why people are so quick to forgive Jack Dorsey or to act like Jack Dorsey's the good guy here. Everybody should be remembering that all of this happened under Jack Dorsey's astute leadership. I don't believe that Jack didn't know what was going on in his own company. If Jack even used Twitter, he certainly knew about the New York Post story and about the censorship, because it was one of the biggest outrages on Twitter in my lifetime. So this idea that Jack Dorsey's some reformed guy and he's, on the side of free speech, baloney. I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Dorsey himself had been deleting files. Maybe he's scrubbed the files so deeply that he's not even worried. I don't think they need to dox low-level employees, at least publicly. Although I do think that this, the information needs to get out there and citizen journalists need to go through it and make connections. The hive mind is far more powerful in this case. And we need to find out who these people work for, where'd they leave, where'd they go to work for after they work for Twitter, how many of them are working for the Biden administration now. All these things are important so that we don't repeat these mistakes in the future. And so we can look at Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all this stuff with a similar line of scrutiny, because another big election's coming up. And I, for one, don't exactly want social media having to put its finger on the scales this time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe down below. And it's Christmas time. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas time. Is that the song? Let's go to the Super Mario. For the 8th day of December, my true love gave to me. I don't know which one is actually. Do you think that you got two? Did this whole thing shift? Because there's obviously a princess here, but then there's this guy. There's I don't know. I'm gonna say, well, I'm just gonna look. No, I'm gonna say the 14th. We got a little sneak peek. I'm gonna say this is the 1-up color mushroom. Oh, cute little guy. And since we had some sadness, we're going with 2. Skyrim. I owe it's the 8th. Please don't suck. Oh, okay. It's a little bigger one. It's this little map down here. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Keychain. That's pretty cool. All right. They're getting better. All right. Maybe the Skyrim one's kind of redeeming itself a little bit. Merry Christmas.